Do you know what is great about our program? It is having the chance to meet inspiring and unique people in the field of new media. People who did really create something to be proud of in the world of social media and the new media. So these people inspire us and push us forward. Their content or digital heritage is rich and massive of all these wonderful things that give meaning and identity to the digital content on the internet. Today we are so honored to meet someone unique, creative, tech-savvy, and very inspiring person. We are happy to have this chance to interview someone who has and still spreading the good words of Islam and the culture of Islam through the clever, creative, and exceptional use of new media. He has embraced the concept totally. Mr. Fatih Seferogic is someone who made his popularity by reading the Quran, and no honor tops that. Additionally, Fatih made it clear by his outreach with his audience that he is also an inspiring person, humble, creative, helpful, and a fine teacher. Oh yes, he tutors people remotely by using the latest tech. I told you, he totally embraced new media. For me, Daej, I know this guy through social media, a viral video like 5 to 6 years ago for this guy who, mashallah, was reading the Quran somewhere in the West. Everyone praised his recitation, and today we are interviewing him to get to know more about his new media experience and practice and content and more, and also to be inspired. Mr. Fatih, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome to our show. I mean, I'm so happy and excited to have you here with us.
Thank you, man. I'm so happy you pronounced my name properly. That's very rare.
I was practicing.
Yeah, barakallah feek.
So, Mr. Fatih, before we begin and talk about social media, can we actually talk about yourself? Tell us more about who are you?
So, alhamdulillah, when I was quite young, I memorized the Quran. And, this was before Instagram and Facebook. I remember when I was first leading Taraweeh, I just, had a normal camera. I pulled it out. I said, let me just record myself leading prayer, put it on YouTube, who knows. Like, I didn't really have any plans with it. I just, thought I could share it with some people. And, for 1 year, nothing really happened. But then all of a sudden, like you said, that video went viral. And then people started to know me. And then that's what actually pushed me to start using social media. And alhamdulillah, I've been using it ever since. And it's part of my identity now.
Well, now you're inspiring people, actually. So this is interesting and amazing. Now, Fatih, tell us, what is content creation in your own words?
So content creation, for me, is basically, trying to do something that's unique and inspiring. Every single content creator needs to have a purpose and a goal. If you're just aimlessly posting things and doing things without really a goal or a purpose, then it's really hard to come up with content that's meaningful and inspiring. So for me, you always want to come up with some content that's going to, inspire people and help people, and also kind of be, in a way, beautiful to look at and, professional.
And what inspired you to start at first place?
So what inspired me to start in the beginning was really simple. I had a Facebook account, like a normal Facebook account, and when my video went viral, all of a sudden, people started adding me. They found me on Facebook and they started adding me. And Facebook, I think till now even, you can only have like 5,000 friends, So I accept. And I was like, there's no more room. And all these people keep bothering me. So I said, khalas, I'm going to go make a Facebook page, and they can just follow me there, And then that became my page, and then it grew. And then later on, Instagram, came in, because Facebook was first, at least back then, Twitter, Facebook. Then Instagram came, and then I was like, okay, let me go on Instagram. And then I just, made the same page on Instagram. And that's why my Instagram is The Real Fatih, if you've noticed.
Yes.
Because back then there were so many fake ones, Like when I went to go make an Instagram page, there were so many people trying to impersonate me. So I had to the real one,
That's actually a cool nickname, or the name for the Instagram.
Yeah, but everyone, because my name Fatih looks like the word faith in English. Like if you don't know my name and you look at it, everyone thinks it's faith. So they think it's like the real faith.
Oh.
MashaAllah, Islam, the real faith. I'm like, no, it's my name.
I really don't know why they do this, but you are the real Fatih right now.
Yeah,
we got the real Fatih, dear viewers.
Alhamdulillah.
So tell us about which platform you prefer. I mean, you mentioned that you started on Facebook, but do you use any other thing other than Instagram as well?
So every platform has its pros and cons, right? Facebook, because it was the earlier one, that's the one I started with. Even now, if you notice, Facebook is more for the older generation, right? You'll find a lot, like, my mom is on there more active than Instagram. You'll find a lot of like grandparents even, because they weren't grandparents back then, so like the parents are now grandparents. So you'll find the older generation on Facebook. And there's also countries where it's more, like every country has a platform that it's more popular there, and also amongst a certain demographic. So Facebook has its pros, right? Yes. Instagram is more the trendy one. Well, not even anymore. People still like it now, but now it's like TikTok, yeah, yes. TikTok, Snapchat. But each one of them has their like Twitter, and the way you interact with your audience is different on all of them, right? Like Facebook, you can write long posts and stories and like documentaries, no problem. Twitter, handful of words, you have to be short,
limited space,
very limited. Instagram, mainly videos and pictures, you don't really even focus much on words, TikTok, it's just craziness, man. And I was watching a video with my wife yesterday, and because the metaverse is coming out now, so I was watching, it's still not that developed, it's still in very early stages, but me as a social media influencer, I have to, any new thing that comes out, I have to be mentally prepared to like use it, right?
Yes, to keep up with the advancements.
Yeah, you have to. So for example, I saw in the video I was watching, the interviewer, she was doing a meeting like with her company in the metaverse, like with the avatar, digital. They were sitting in a digital room and they were drawing on like a board, and I was like, so I teach Quran, I teach classes and stuff like that. So I was like, I have a feeling in my heart that in the near future, I'm going to have to do my classes in the metaverse with like a virtual classroom of virtual students sitting, and I'm going to be in the VR, and you just have to be ready for that. So each social media has its pros and cons, and you just have to know how to use each one to your advantage.
But this is actually a cool idea you mentioned. That would be great. That would be something in the future, and I can tell you that. And like you mentioned, interacting with the audience. How can you keep up with interacting with the people that follow you? Do you actually do that, or just?
So me personally, I don't do that. That's something that I don't do as well as I should, or as much as I should. And the reason why, for me personally, is because there's some people that they become famous by interacting with their audience, right? So they become famous by being really engaging, talking to people, showing their whole life. They just like what they've had for breakfast. How their house looks better than your own. And like I became famous like suddenly, like it was just, I never planned it, And with that came a lot of difficulties, obviously, and problems and issues. And I never felt comfortable really being super engaging with my audience because it was kind of too revealing. And, like I was going through my own issues. I was going through an identity crisis. I was trying to figure out, who am I? What do I want to do? And just going through all of those things, social media, as we all know, is probably the place where you get judged the most, yes. Right? So it's a very difficult place because you're always constantly getting, and the more that you engage with your audience, the more you're going to get judged, the more you can get in trouble, the more arguments, the more things, So that always turned me off, like, because even before, when I tried to engage with my audience just a little bit, like when I was growing up and I was younger, like, oh, haram, he's wearing this, or haram, look what he's doing, look at his haircut, look at his dress, look what he's saying, oh, like all of these things, So it made me like run away from it. I was like, khalas, I don't want to show you guys anything about me because you guys are all just going to attack me and judge me. And now I'm 27 and I'm a lot more comfortable with who I am and what I'm about. I found my identity. So now is the time that I want to start engaging, and that's something I want to work on. But it takes effort, and it takes a lot of confidence to show yourself and be okay with any judgment that comes your way.
Yes, of course, and it takes a lot of time also to focus on what the people think and say about you. And now I know that most of your content is about recitation of Quran and stuff, but how do you prepare for it? I know it's Quran and you read it, but like, how do you prepare for it, actually, the content itself?
I mean, the thing about the Quran recitation is there's a lot of pressure for any content creator, and I know any content creator out there, they can relate. There's always a pressure because once you put something out there, you're being compared, you're being judged, you want it to be the best, right? It doesn't matter whether it's Quran or anything else. Whenever you put something, you want it to be amazing, right? So the hardest part about content creation is you being happy with what you've created. Right? So many of the times, even for myself, my wife knows, we'll sit in the studio and I'll record, and again, take 2, take 3, take 4. And then maybe I'll record for 2 hours and my voice, khalas, is finished, right? And then I'm like, and I can't. So I have to wrap it up for the day because my voice is not, it's finished. I have to give it a break, And then I'll spend 2 hours, and in the end, I don't have anything that I'm happy to present, and then I get frustrated. Sometimes you just get in the first take, mashallah, everything's good, you can use it, and you take advantage of that. And then you also have to be creative, like I was trying to, you have to make things beautiful, like you have to figure out the best lighting, you have to figure out, because the thing is, once you do something or somebody else does something, people copy it or you copy it, and then everyone is doing the same thing, right? Like now the Quran recitations are all the same, everyone's doing the same thing, so you have to figure out what's the next thing that I can do, just be different than other people, what can I do? So there's a lot of that pressure and creativity to stand out as well, so it's a very difficult process, and everybody else, everyone has their own way, and in the end, the advice I give people is, look, you're always going to be your own worst critic. So just do your best and just put it out there, and you're going to naturally improve over time. Like if you put out a video, and even if you don't like something, put it out. The next time you'll be better, and it'll be better, and slowly you'll get better. But if you always tell yourself it's not good enough, then it's never going to be good enough, and then you're never going to even get started. That first step is always the hardest,
That's right. That's right. And you mentioned something that got my attention here, that people will try to copy you, right?
Yeah.
Now in the field, let's say of music, or let's say video games, if I'm a content creator and I upload video game content, there will be so many other people like me doing the same content, probably the same game. But what's different is me.
Yeah.
You're going to be unique for yourself.
Yeah.
So even if there's a lot of recitations of Quran here and there, we will know you as Fatih. We will listen to you because you are Fatih, and we like to hear your voice, right? So what about you? Who is your favorite person that recites Quran? Who inspired you?
So who inspired me is obviously Sheikh Al-Afasi. That's one of the reasons why I came to Kuwait, because he was always my biggest inspiration. And to this day, he inspires me. He's somebody that I look up to. I don't listen to him as much as I used to before, but because there's so many new people, that's just how it is. You can't. No one, even if you're the best content creator, like in whatever field, people get tired of a certain person. That's another thing that you have to deal with as a content creator. It's a hard reality. I've been around on social media for like over 10 years now. It's very hard to stay relevant always for 10 years at the same level. You'll have your ups and downs, and for somebody that's used to being up, like somebody that's used to being known, when you're not known, it can be very difficult to deal with that because you're used to certain attention and lifestyle, so you have to deal with that as well. So for me, it used to be Sheikh Afasi, and then now I have some other Qurra that I listen to that are really good. Like Sheikh Ahmed Nufais is really good from Kuwait. There's a guy, Saad Azwit or something from he's in Dubai. Sheikh Abdul Aziz Zahrani. There's a few.
Yeah, mashallah, there's
Ra'ad al-Kurdi and all these guys. Yeah.
Now let's get back to content creating. Now you mentioned that you have a studio, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about the equipment. Is it affordable for someone to start doing what you are doing? What's the difficulties you faced during these times collecting the items or equipment for you to begin to record yourself and give us this beautiful content?
So one thing that's really important that people need to understand is the content is the most important thing at the end of the day. The content. It's everything else is additional and bonus, right? Like these lights that we have here, the seating is like the main people. If somebody's watching this right now, they're mainly watching this because of our conversation. They're not watching, like if this was red, someone's not going to turn on the TV and be like, "Khalas, this is red. It's not purple."
That's correct.
Khalas, I don't like red. These things make it beautiful. These are like little perfection things, right? But when I first got started, all I did was I turned on a camera. I just had one camera. It was very bad quality, and that's it. And I put it on YouTube. There was no editing. There was nothing, And that's what people need to understand. To get started, you have to believe in your content, what you're about. And if you're good at what you do, then people will tune in and and then slowly you build after that. Like then you start getting a following. Then you can add, okay, let me upgrade, because today we have iPhones, and like our phones are like amazing. Like the camera that I got started with, the phone today is better than it. You can just sit with your iPhone and start if you really wanted to. Everyone has an excuse or like, no, I need to have the best studio, the best camera, the best equipment. Not really. Like if you really want, you can get started, and then as you become more successful, okay, you upgrade your camera. Okay, now you buy a microphone. Okay, now you buy one light. Then you can buy two lights. Then you can buy a new computer. Then you can. These things come slowly. That's why all the most successful people on YouTube, like 10, 20 million followers, if you go, like for example, Mr. Beast or something,
yes, Mr. Beast.
Or like the guy who does tech reviews, what's his name, Marquise Brown, or like any of these big guys, if you go to their first video when he first started, man, it was like really bad quality, and you can see the progression over the years of how he just gets better and better.
That's correct.
It takes time. You don't start off but there are some people today, they start day
they
one.
would like to start on top so that they can make the great. They look good.
Yeah, and it will help. Don't get me wrong, it will help. But at the end of the day, these are all extra things, you know?
All that matters is the content itself.
If the content is great, it's going to speak for itself.
That's right. So, Fatih, we know that you remotely teach people how to read Quran or know Arabic. Can you tell us about this experience?
Yeah, you know, I used to teach Quran in person, like in the masjid. And then, you know, it's just how everyone has been advancing and the generation has been going. It's very hard to get people to go to the masjid. When I memorized the Quran, I was in the masjid from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, like all day, just Quran. Today, it's very difficult to get a kid to sit in the masjid even 1 hour, just 1 hour, you know? So I used to also focus on teaching Hifdh al-Quran. Hifdh al-Quran takes a lot of time and effort. Now, I mainly focus on short classes. I just focus on teaching people how to read Alif Ba Ta, you know, tajweed, makharij. Then when they finish the Qaida Nuraniya, then they learn, okay, how to read with fluency. Then they memorize surahs, you know, Surah An-Nas, Falaq, you know, Juz Amma. And that's it, you know, I keep it simple online. And, you know, because I find that to work a lot better, especially in our day and age today, than trying to give, you know, people 2-3 hours, so much work. It just doesn't work anymore. Yeah.
All right. With that being said, Mr. Fatih, we reached the end of this lovely, beautiful interview. I'm so happy to have you here with us. We learned something today new, and of course we got some information about how you started, how the people can start again like you did, and the whole experience of you being on social media. And of course, not everything, of course, but we got some details about it. So, of course, before we conclude, we would like you to look at the cameras and tell the people something, an advice or anything for a few words.
So the most important thing that we all have to understand is social media can be amazing, but it can also be very, very dangerous, okay? For me personally, if it wasn't so important for my career that I use social media, I would probably not even be on social media. Because I think for me personally, the dangers of social media outweigh the benefits for most people. There's always, yes, you can do good, and it's really important. Yes, there's a lot of good that you can do. And if you're on social media and you want to be a content creator, your goal and purpose should be to do good and inspire people and try to spread positivity and happiness. But if you're on there and you find that social media is destroying your life and it's harming you, because there's so many harms. And when I say harms, I don't mean physical harms. I mean harms for your heart, for your iman, for your soul. If you're going on Instagram, on social media and TikTok, and it's affecting your spirituality, and if it's affecting your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't care what benefit is on there, I don't care what you think is worth it, turn it off. Because we're in a day and age today that social media, we don't even know what we want anymore. We want what they want us to want, these influencers. So people, they just spend all their time on social media now, and they have all these influencers telling them, this is what you want, this is what you want, this is what you want. And you forget that when you were younger, you had a goal to do this or to do this, because now you're just doing what everyone else wants you to do. And it's all coming into your heart, and it's spoiling your heart, and it's rotting your heart. So social media is great. If you can stay away from it, I honestly think that's the best thing. But if you're going to use it, then try to use it for good. And if you find it affecting your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even a little bit, go away.
Thank you so much.
Barakallahu feek.
The COVID testing.
Just come out of quarantine yesterday. I don't know what's going on here.
Is that a COVID ice cream?
Yeah. COVID's experts. It's an extra 50 people COVID.